Grants. Well, we always talk about the water storage tank, and we had some bad news last week where Danbury Planning and Zoning, despite having only 4 commissioners present, decided to vote on our tank application, and they denied it at their meeting on June 30th.
Now, in your possession, you do have, and this was submitted to me and I believe to Danbury well after the hearings were open, so it doesn't have an impact, but it has an impact. You got a petition.
Yeah, I saw, yeah.
Everybody that's up there. Today.
And I talked to, before you go on, I talked to the planning and zoning staff person in Danbury, and they said that the person, Mr. Ferreira, he tried to present this to planning and zoning at the counter there, and they refused to accept it because it had to do with a public hearing that had closed. So they put it, I believe they may have taken a copy of it and put it in an envelope and just put it in the file, but it was not supposed to have been considered as part of the application process, that storage.
And Mr. Ferreira walked down here and we had a long talk about his ancestry and many of his relations that I had worked with for many years, and he presented me with it, and I said I would present it to my utility commission. So you have it in your possession. Today I brought in an attorney specialist and discussed the whole matter with him. And there's a couple ways that we may handle this. He has some checking to do, but we will go forward, and it will be handled from this point forward by Pullman and Conlon. So that's where we are with that, as to what our options are, what our rights are. This is needed for fire protection. It's needed for public health, just health and safety. So there are laws that supersede zoning when that comes into play. So this week we'll get ruling back, and as we go forward we'll put the appropriate parties on notice.
I've got a question for Andrew. The commission that voted, the planning and zoning that voted it down, how many members are on that?
5.
It's a 5-member commission, and only four were present. It was unanimous?
It was unanimous.
Okay, unanimous.
First meeting, it seemed it wasn't voted on, but it was seemed to be a split, 2 and 2.
All right. And is it based on the we just went through those biologists going up there?
No, it's fine.
That's all. I mean, you checked out all the hazards to the environment. There's no environmental hazard.
Wetlands approved it.
Yeah, right. So all the red flags that would, if it were going to do harm. So this is an aesthetic question now.
Yes.
It's quality of life, aesthetic for the residents in the area.
Yes.
And even the aesthetic, when you really look at the way the project is being done, this tank is a total of 26 feet high, of which 12 feet is buried. So if you take 12 from 26, you got a 14-foot above.
Yeah.
It's very low profile.
It's low.
There's arborvitaes that are going to surround it. I mean, you're going to see it for the first couple of years, but an arborvitae will grow anywhere from 1 foot to 3 feet a year.
After all of the money that's been spent to okay that area, if the planning and zoning said you want to adhere to the wishes of the people on Long Ridge and Brushy Hill. I see some people that live on Brushy Hill here. Is it
sure
feasible?
They can go out of state and get signatures too.
Yeah, I mean it's not illegal. Yeah, but is there a way that it could be moved deeper into that Eureka property?
That's one of the options, and we're going to keep all the options on the table right now, and work with council to devise the best strategy. We want to get this tank started sooner than later. We've got the $600,000 grant. We've got the state working on. We're going to at least get a loan, low interest loan. We might qualify for stimulus funding, but we're not going to get stimulus funding if this project isn't shovel ready, and it's not shovel ready until we've got planning and zoning.
Everything's shovel-ready
We've got to
except
weigh
planning
all
and
of our
zoning approval.
options. And one of them is, absolutely, one of them is going back to Danbury and saying, look, can we move this tank this way? We only have so far, because we got the filter basins there, we've got the transmission main there. We can't, I don't want to start getting into moving the transmission main around, because it's right next to the filter basins anyway. We're only going to gain another 10 feet by doing that, but we could potentially move the tank closer to the transmission main. But it's more excavation, it's more site work.
Well, then, do you have to go through another biological team coming up for $3,000 to tell us there's no...
I don't,
you know what I'm saying? You
Could
just
be a possibility.
It could be. And I know there are spotted salamanders deeper in there. You know, then they're going to say, oh,
Yeah, but
now
they're on
we
the
got
other
this.
side.
Well, by the causeway, there's a vernal pool there.
yeah,
that
that's
would
the other side.
then they would tell us, oh, wait a minute
It's
now.
a man-made pool. Vernal
Yeah.
pools are mud pumps.
Yeah, well, that
created
little...
by God.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll just we'll just have to let it play out. But
So you got to watch
but
out
we're
for that.
disappointed.
That vernal pool every now and then gets a good shot of. Used to get shots of chlorine, possibly. Or what's the other thing that they put in there to kill lily pads?
copper sulfate.
Yeah, you got to watch that getting over to when we turn into the vernal pool. Oh, we're very careful.
after all, no, I know, but I mean, after all, you know, you go
Our
through.
salamanders.
We jumped through a lot. There was a lot of hoops jumping through to get that state money.
The staff person for the planning and zoning had only written a motion of approval 2 weeks before this meeting.
Right.
They asked her at the last minute, why don't you write up a motion of denial for discussion purposes for the next meeting? And then when she called me that day and said, well, we only have 4 commissioners again, one stuck in Texas on business, we'll probably push it forward another 2 weeks. I didn't bother going to the meeting. And then they voted on it. They voted on the motion of denial that had been freshly drafted.
It was very
Caught me by surprise.
Well, what surprised me is the letter to the editor. I saw the letter to the editor about the tank.
And saying a 55-foot high tank.
But that man's a candidate for mayoral candidate.
Can you
And so I
imagine
said-
that a politician would lie?
I was so interested.
God, what's
that would
happening
be
in
the
this
topic that somebody that wanted to have the top job would seize. You know, all the things to seize.
14
that was
with
it.
the pitch of the roof, 14 feet.
So it surprised me.
Could you
when I
imagine
saw it.
people doing things like that?
Well, you pick your
Revolting.
issues. Maybe he needs the...
Adams and Jefferson used to argue. But I think they drank together, too. Just for a historic whatever, Jefferson died 2 hours before Adams on the same day. The 4th of July, 50 years after it was signed. And Adams's last words were, Jefferson lives. I was there. I was
So-
little, but I was there.
So, Andrew, now what? So we just wait until
Yeah, we're
you
going to hear
said
back from council on
You have to come to more of these meetings.
lawyers.
These are fun.
So now the lawyers have to be contacted.
Well,
The lawyers have been contacted.
Pullman and Conley will lay out our options for us and, draft some letters that we can send out to either the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Department of Public Utility Control, whoever the appropriate agencies are. And we'll try to, move this forward, try to cooperate with, as much as possible we want to get this tank done at this site. If we have to move it a little bit, I'm okay with that, but, I'm sorry to say that I think we've lost the construction season for this year at this point, because we're not going to resolve this in the next 30 days, most likely.
Yeah, they put tanks in Alaska and they just have to use lights, that's all. So we'll see what happens.
We'll do our darndest to keep it moving.